In 1 Chronicles chapter 19, we're going to learn more about the relationship with the Ammonites in Israel as well. Real interesting story. If you go back to 2 Samuel chapter 10, you can learn more about this in the details they have there. We're going to get kind of a shortened version of it today and try to expound on that a little bit for you. Verse 1, now it came to pass after this that Nahash, the king of the children of Ammon, died, and his son reigned in his stead. And David said, I will show kindness unto Hanun, the son of Nahash, because his father showed kindness to me. Remember, when David was being sought by Saul, Hanun helped David out. And David sent messengers to comfort him concerning his father. So the servants of David came into the land of the children of Ammon to Hanun to comfort him. And at the children of Ammon, these are people who are descendants of Lot. They are, if I remember right, they are I don't remember which daughter it was, but if you remember when the whole idea of Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah, when those areas were destroyed, Lot's daughters realized that there's nobody to carry on the family name. Their family's kind of wiped out, so they got their dad drunk and slept with him so that they could get pregnant and then have children for their father to carry on the family name. Ammon, the children of Ammon, is one of those groups. So they're kind of distant cousins of Abraham's children, basically. So it says, but verse 3, but the princes of the children of Ammon said to Hanun, thinkest thou that David doth honor thy father, that he sent comforters unto thee? Are not his servants come unto thee for to search and to overthrow and to spy out the land? So David's going, oh, I want to help. They showed me kindness. I'm going to show them kindness. Well, the princes looked at what David was doing and thought, is there a subversive motivation that what David is doing? And this is a good lesson for us. We have to be careful. Sometimes we think we see a conspiracy. We think we see somebody has an ulterior motive. Sometimes that could be true, and sometimes it's not true. So just because we speculate and wonder doesn't guarantee it's true. So they're speculating and wondering, is David really sending servants to help you out? They are kind of our enemy, you know. Maybe what his servants are here to do is to spy on us. He's using your grief as an opportunity to spy on our resources, our forces, our defenses, our value. Look at what he's been doing for a while now, taking over these lands, gathering the wealth out. He's checking to see if you're the next target. And so they decide, oh, this could be true. Maybe we're not gonna treat them so nicely, basically. And so it says here, verse 4, wherefore Hanun took David's servants and shaved them and cut off their garments in the midst, hard by their buttocks, and sent them away. So if you go back into 2 Samuel chapter 10, you'll find out that, remember, beards were a sign of status. Men growing beards was a sign of status. Big beards, long, thick beards, they were a symbol of power and status. So what they did is they literally just shaved half the beard off. So one half of their face had the beard, the other half did, in a way to mock their status and their power and influence. And then they cut their garments around the waist, basically. So probably somewhere between the hips and the belly button, right around the waist, they cut their clothes off so that they had clothes on the top half of their body, but no clothes in the bottom half of their body. So basically their butt, their groin, their legs, everything was exposed for everyone to see. And then they sent them away. They said, go home now. So they had to walk home, this walk of shame, half their beards gone. That takes time to grow back and then to get it to even out with the other one. And then they were basically exposed and embarrassed, and anybody they came across all the way back to Jerusalem. Verse 5, then there went certain and told David how the men were served, and he sent to meet them, for the men were greatly ashamed. I would be too. That'd be pretty embarrassing. And the king said, tarry at Jericho until your beards be grown, and then return. So he's like, go hang out at one of these other outlying cities. When your beard grows back in, which could take a month or two, then you can then come back to Jerusalem and hang out here. So they're not in Jerusalem officiating in things and being seen, basically. Verse 6, when the children of Ammon saw that they had made themselves odious to David, Hanun, the children of and the children of Ammon sent 1,000 talents of silver to hire them chariots and horsemen out of Mesopotamia and out of Syria, Makkah, and out of Zobah. So basically, when they realized, they just pissed David off. They're like, oh crap, we just poked the bear. We stirred the hornet's nest up now by treating him that way. Because now they realized that there was no conspiracy. David wasn't sending spies, he was sending real people, but now they treated him badly. They were very disrespectful. David's mad now. He has a justification for war. And now they're worried about this. Verse 7, so they hired 32,000 chariots, the king of Makkah and his people, who came and pitched before Medeba. The children of Ammon gathered themselves together from their cities and came to battle. And when David heard of it, he sent Joab and all the host of the mighty men. And the children of Ammon came out and put the battle in array before the gate of the city, and the kings that were come were by themselves in the field. Now when Joab saw that the battle was set against him before and behind, he chose out of all the choice of Israel and put them in array against the Syrians. So they're like, we're totally preparing for war. They prepare it, and Dave's like, well, they're coming out to battle. We might as well go face them. So he sends Joab, who's his main general, with the armies of Israel to go out and face him. Joab realizes that the battle was set against him before and behind, meaning there was a frontal attack and there was a sneak attack from behind. So Joab's got two fronts he's fighting on, basically. And so he chooses the choice of Israel, put them in array against the Syrians. So they've got the Ammonites in front, the Syrians in back. He takes some of his best soldiers and he fights against the Syrians in the back. Verse 11, and the rest of the people he delivered unto the hand of Abishai his brother, and they set themselves in array against the children of Ammon. So he's got two fronts he's fighting on, basically, and they're practically surrounded. Now, verse 12, he said, if the Syrians be too strong for me, then thou shalt help me. But if the children of Ammon be too strong for thee, then I will help thee. So he's basically split the army. He says the bulk of the army is going to go with his brother to fight the Ammonites. There's a smaller, more elite fighting group that's going to hit the Syrians and try to take them out because that's their retreat sense. That's their way of getting back to their own lands. So he's really worried about that. But he tells his brother, look, if I get overran, if I can't fight him, then I'm going to call you for help, and vice versa. If you get overridden, let me know and we'll come help you too. So we can keep our, we can win, basically. Verse 13, be of good courage. Let us behave ourselves valiantly for our people and for the cities of our God. Let the Lord do that which is good in his sight. So basically saying, do your best, fight valiantly for your people, go with honor, and God will sort out the difference. Now, if you've ever been in combat or have studied combat or understand these situations, if it's one thing that is pretty clear, is there's a whole lot of randomness in what the outcome turns out to be. From when you start to hear these stories of people coming together and the clashes and things like that, it feels like there's just this unknown randomness that happens. And of course, that's where God works his miracles to save men and to do things. There's a great book, Saints at War. You can read about all the stories of members of the church who fought in World War II. Some of those are pretty miraculous stories that they tell in there of people being shot and not dying, people being saved in just miraculous ways, and so that fog of war, that chaos that happens, God can get in there in that randomness and can do mighty miracles. And that's what they're saying here basically is, we're going to go fight valiantly, do your best, and let the chips lie where God wants them to lie. This is actually not an uncommon philosophy. Bruce Lee was a common proponent of a similar philosophy, that when you enter into a fight, you don't go into the fight expecting to win. You go into the fight expecting to do your best, and you let the chips fall where they lie, basically. And that's part of his philosophy, basically. More of a realist philosophy than an optimist philosophy. But that's basically what they're doing here, too. So if you've been in combat or have studied combat or war, I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas on that as well, of what Joab is telling his brother, basically, here. If you were there with them, would you agree with this, basically? So let's see, verse 14. So Joab and the people that were with him drew nigh before the Syrians unto the battle, and they fled before him. So they've got the Syrians on the run. Verse 15, when the children of Ammon saw that the Syrians were fled, they likewise fled before Abishai his brother and entered into the city. Then Joab came to Jerusalem. So basically the Syrians fled, went, nope, we're out, we're done, we're not taking this fight. Israel's winning. They fled to preserve themselves. The Ammonites went, oh crap, we're losing. Our reinforcements just left, basically, our surprise attack. That was our big opportunity to win. It has collapsed. They're leaving. We're going to go back into our city for defense. So they get to hide behind their city wall, which gives them a military advantage for defense against Israel. They can't fight Israel in open combat. There's no way. Israel, under the command of David, Israel never loses. How do you fight against that kind of an army that never loses, basically? Under Saul, they did lose a little bit to the Philistines here and there, but under David, they don't lose. David doesn't lose. Like we learned in the last chapter, the Lord told David a couple of times, I have cleared your enemies out of your way. You know, I've established you with a reputation among the world, basically, as a force to be reckoned with. So Ammon knows without the Syrians hitting him from the back, without that extra overwhelming odds, the challenge with war, and this is the same with even like fights on the street, somebody's trying to rob you or things like that. There is I'm trying to remember the term that's used, but there's basically you want to have more tools, more resources at your disposal than your enemy. So a great way to win a battle is to be overwhelming in your odds. If you ever played Risk, you know fighting 5 armies against 5 armies does not guarantee at all you ever have a chance of winning. Fighting 15 armies against 5 armies really gives you the overwhelming odds of winning. So you're stacking the deck in your favor. When somebody robs you, they want to stack the deck in their favor. That's where self-defense is. You are trying to stack the deck in your favor, basically, with situational awareness and skills and those kinds of things. So Ammon, the children of Ammon are like, nope, we just lost our competitive advantage. We're out. We're going to go back and hide in our city where we can defend ourselves and be protected, basically. We have a better chance there. So then Joab goes back to Jerusalem. In verse 16, when the Syrians saw that they were put to the worst before Israel, they sent messengers and drew forth the Syrians that were beyond the river. And Shobach, the captain of the host of Hadrezer, went before them. And it was told David, and he gathered all Israel and passed over Jordan and came upon them and set the battle in array against them. So when David had put the battle in array against the Syrians, they fought with him. But so this is the Syrians. When they talk about the Syrians, they're talking about, it sounds weird that the Syrians saw they were losing, and so they sent a letter to the Syrians. What that means is they split their army. They had 2 groups waiting. One group came in to fight. The other one was waiting for Israel to go a certain direction, for the fight to go that way. They would come in as their backup and do this. Well, the fight didn't go that way. So the main Syrians had to leave. The other Syrians are back over here waiting. So they had to send messengers to go, hey, come join us. We need you to come up here now to help us out. And in the meantime, David heard about this. And so he sent his group to counter this other Syrian army that hasn't been brought into battle yet. And they start fighting. Verse 18, but the Syrians fled before Israel, and David slew of the Syrians 7,000 men which fought in chariots, 40,000 footmen, and killed Shobach, the captain of the host. When the servants of Hadrezer saw that they were put to the worst before Israel, they made peace with David and became his servants. Neither would the Syrians help the children of Ammon anymore. So the Syrians went, oh, there's no way we're going to make this work. So we are basically going to pay a tribute to David. We are going to basically, we want to make peace with Israel, and it's better for us to pay a tax, to give donations and gifts and things to them than it is to fight against them. So they probably went to the children of Ammon and said, you guys are on your own. Good luck. We're not coming back. We're switching teams, basically. We're going to keep David happy with us so he doesn't fight us, because there's no winning. There's no military opportunity to win against Israel. So we might as well keep Israel happy so they don't destroy us by paying our taxes or a tribute to him, basically, is what's going on. So let's jump to the next chapter as we continue on.